Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today in this video we are going to see what is context API in React and why it is widely used in React applications. So before starting with, whenever you want to pass anything from one component to another component in React, usually we use props. So suppose there is something defined in application.js file and we want to pass it to this author avatar widget. Then what usually we do, we pass that component we pass that variable as a prop from app.js file to content.js file, then from content to blog, then from blog to blog post, then into the author widget, and next into the author avatar. So it is a quite long process. We need to maintain the prop from first file to the last file, and it can be a quite tedious work. So to reduce this work and to reduce the props passing, the React has an context API. So what exactly is context API? Here in app.js file, if we create anything, if we create any context, then it will be created as a global variable and which can be accessed at any part of our application. Suppose here we create a theme context in app.js file, and then if we define the theme provider and wrap up all this component inside this theme provider, then this context variable, for example theme, can be accessed at any part of our application. It can be accessed in author avatar, it can be accessed in author widget, anywhere. We just don't need to pass the props. We can directly access it using the React context method. So coming to the React context, here they had defined it that context provides a way to pass data through the component tree without having to pass props down manually at every level, which we had seen here. Then there are some prerequisites where we can use context method. So here they had said that context is designed to share data that can be considered global for a tree of React component, such as the current authenticated user, theme, or preferred language. That means that there are some global variable which will remain constant throughout all the application that can be used context API. Suppose in this application we need to define a theme, and as you know theme can be accessed and need to be accessed at any part of our application. So theme can be defined using context API and it can be accessed anywhere, or else to check if user is authenticated or not, we can check it at the initial part of the application and pass it as path provider into any other component. So this is all about React Context API. They are the steps which we need to follow to use the React Context API. So first one is we need to create a context. Then the syntax for it is like here. We need to name the context, some context, which you can replace with theme context or context, anything. There is a create context method which is already present in React, and we need to pass the default value, or else we can pass props here, the context props which we will see in our application. Then we need to create a provider and put the component where we want to access the provider value. So here they had created a theme context dot provider and passed the value as theme, which they had set here, and inside page this theme variable can be accessed. Now how it can be accessed? It can be accessed by using two methods. This one is the older one and this one is the newer one. So for older one, they used to use context method, and sorry, they used to use this theme context dot consumer method, where they can directly use the variable name and the value of variable will be fetched automatically. Or else for the new one, we can use this use context method. Here we can directly define the variable and use the use context method. The only thing we need to do is to pass the context name that we had defined in our code, and we are good to go. We can use theme here. Okay, so let's see with the help of an example how we can define the theme context. I had created a new React application using this npx create react app, and it's running here. Okay, now what I will do, I will remove some untagged code that we don't require. Let's say this report vitals, then this logo, setup test, app test, and in app.js we don't require this part of code. So we don't require this. Okay. Now following the first step here, we need to create a context. Okay. So for this, I will create a utils folder here, and inside that I will name the file as theme context. Now, before creating context, we need to define the props that we are going to pass for the theme context. Here, there will be theme context props, and the values will be the theme, which will be light or dark one. Then there will be a toggle button, which will be to change the theme. Okay. Now, once the props are created, we just need to define the theme context. So for this, let's name it as theme context, and we will use create context method that is already present in React, and here we will pass the theme context props. Okay, so we had created a theme context. Now we need to create a provider, theme context provider, which will supply the values, and it can be accessed anywhere into the component that we had used here. Okay, so for this, what we can do, we can create a theme context provider here. Okay, then we need to export const theme context provider, and it will accept the children. The children are nothing but the components that we are going to pass it in this theme context provider. Okay, so now we are going to return the theme context dot provider here, and produce the children here. So once the theme context provider has been implemented, we need to pass the initial value. So for that initial value, let's say use it local storage if you have saved it in the last session, or else if it is not present, then supply the default value as dark one. Next, we are going to use the useState method to check the theme. The initial value will be set for the theme that we get here. Okay, now we need to define a toggle theme method. What it will do, it will change the theme. So for this, I will use set theme, and let's say const changed theme will be, first we will get the theme, and if it is dark, let's say we are going to return the light one, or else dark one. Okay, so this one will be the change theme, then we are going to set it inside set theme, and also we are going to set it inside the local storage so that it can be used in next session. That's all. Now inside this theme provider, we need to pass the values. So the value will be theme and toggle theme that we had used. Now inside index.js we can directly call the theme provider, theme context provider, and wrap the whole application into it. Okay, now it's done. Now in the app.js file we can directly use the theme variable and also create a button to change the theme, and on click we can use that toggle theme method. Now to use this theme and toggle theme, we can use context method, and only thing we need to do is we need to pass the theme context. Yeah, that's done. So when we go to the application, you can see there is toggle theme button, also the theme one. Now if we click on toggle theme, the theme will be changed. Another time it will be light. Okay, now in this way we can access it at any part of our application. We don't need to pass it through props or any other methods. We can directly use it here. Let's say we create a component folder, and inside that component there is a file blog.js, and which can be any component in your code. So this is starter code, and let's say it have styles, height, object height will be 600 px, width will also be 600 px, and it will have a background color according to our theme variable. So for using theme, what we are going to use, we are going to use the context method, use context method. So I define a theme variable, then use context method. We need to pass theme context, and it have two methods. First one is theme and toggle theme. So we are going to use theme here. That we called the theme, and here we're going to check if theme is dark, then return the background color as black, or else return the color as white. That's all. And inside app.js file you can directly call this block. Now here you can see the current theme is dark and the block is also dark. If you want to toggle it, it becomes light here. Also the theme in the block changes. It means it is changing at runtime, and we don't need to pass the value of a theme from here into this block. It can be independently used using this useContext method. So in this way we had implemented a small theme changer application. You can use it inside your big applications. Only thing is that you need to define a theme context. Then once theme context is defined, you need to create a theme context provider. Inside that it will accept children or components or pages, anything you can define. There we will set an initial value which you can get from local storage if you have set it previously, or else we will get the dark value. Then this use state for setting the theme, this one to changing the theme, and we are going to pass children here using this theme context provider. And at the entry point of our application we can wrap up whole app inside this theme context provider. Okay, so this was all about the theme context.